Hello. Do you think that we lose money when graduates default on their student loans? Quite the opposite. The federal student loan system is making money due to defaulted loans. It was reported in January 2004 by John Hechinger that for every dollar paid out in default claims, the Department of Education would recover every dollar in principal, plus almost 20% in interest and fees. Further, supplemental materials in the President's 2010 budget show a recovery rate for defaulted FFELP loans of about 122%. This is the amount recovered compared to the amount of the loan at the time of default. Compare this recovery rate to that for defaulted credit cards, which is usually about 25 cents on the dollar. And one can see that defaulted loans are clearly not costing the Department of Education money. In fact, it appears strongly that the reverse is true. Consider the case of generalized defaulted bank loans. Two guys, Dermine and Neto Di Carvalho, found that these loans incurred, on average, a recovery cost of about 2.6% of the amount recovered. These recoveries typically involve the seizure of physical property pledged against the loan property that must be handled, stored, and ultimately liquidated by the bank. This is a significant cost that does not exist for unsecured debts, such as student loans or credit cards. Based on this, it directly follows that for credit cards, assuming legal and other administrative costs are similar, a good estimate for the recovery cost would be 2.6 of the 25 cents on the dollar that credit card companies do recover. In other words, the recovery cost for credit cards is about 0.5% of the amount owed. So let us accept the claim that the collection costs for credit cards are 0.5% of the outstanding balance on the account for the purposes of comparison. Now, consider that student loans are not dischargeable in bankruptcy, nor are they subject to statutes of limitations, state usury laws, or even fair debt collection practices, when the collection entity is a non-profit, government-sponsored or government entity. Consider further that the student lending system can take a borrower's wages, income tax returns, Social Security and disability income, and can also put pressures on the borrower that no credit card company could bring to bear, such as the threat of termination or exclusion from public employment, denial of security clearances, exclusion from practicing in a state-licensed profession through administrative suspension. These powers and lack of consumer protections combine to show clearly that the collection costs associated with defaulted student loan recovery should be far, far less, even, than the costs associated with the recovery of defaulted credit card debt. If the Department of Education continues to claim that the collection costs for defaulted student loans is in excess of 20% of the outstanding balance due, then they are clearly assigning costs and thus paying money for activities that are either unrelated to the collection of the debts or are of no discernible commercial value or utility. If the department yet still insists on making this argument in the face of what is shown here, it will be a wholly unsupportable claim. For more information, visit www.studentloanjustice.org. And thank you for your time. Goodbye.